This one came completely out of nowhere for me. I haven't been particularly enthusiastic about many Netflix releases for a while, and I don't know a particularly large amount about K-pop. I'm not really a concert goer. So I sort of waved off K-pop Demon Hunters at their gimmicky title, which yes, is a little ironic given my tradition of really hating generic one-word titles. I should have been way more grateful at a title that is just way more directly about what the movie is actually about. But in my very checked out state that I've been in for the past several years, I completely missed that this was a Sony film, and also failed to see a trailer where I know otherwise my enthusiasm would have been much higher. Because this movie has already rocketed itself to being one of the best of the year out of the, what, 3? And that's with it having an admittedly very CW feeling premise, though you can easily get people on board by comparing it to Totally Spies or Buffy. But even as many of the tropes in this film have been done before, its cinematic quality makes this exceptional fun. The minute I saw how snappy and expressive and amazingly designed our leads were, I was hooked on this film. The animation never stops delivering, from syncing the music to its fight choreography. All of the sharp, exaggerated visual comedy, the avalanche of blink and you'll miss it tiny details in the visual storytelling, delivering them in subtle, quick delivery that there is always something new you can find on rewatches. And yeah, of course, it's that now classic Spider-Verse-esque 2D, 3D hybrid with the altered frame rate with tons of anime touches. Pretty much my favorite style currently. But then you add that our lead characters are also incredibly funny and likable, work amazingly off each other, and are such a believable, tight friendship. And I love each one of them. Granted, this is a trio of personalities that you have seen before. The energetic one, the deadpan one, and the normal one. This is pretty much the friends from Turning Red. Though these variants also have the subtropes of the cute one, the tough one, and the traumatized workaholic. And then you add that these songs are absolute bangers. Sometimes it's really hard to make a band that sounds like it could stand up to existing pop stars, but all of these songs are incredibly catchy and danceable, and especially in how the movie visually delivers them. The songwriters from this film came from kind of all over the world, honestly, but there were definitely some that were rooted in South Korea, including at least that the singers for Takedown were 3 of the members of Twice, which from my limited research does appear to be one of the groups in the top echelons of girl K-pop groups. And one aspect I cannot get over is how much I love the first 15 minutes of this film. Heck, the first 5 minutes might be my favorite first 5 minutes of most films in my memory. It does such an incredible job setting up its premise and characters and getting you right into the thick of it as fast as possible. Opening with an intro of the Demon Hunter's premise. Generations of demon hunters have also been popular singers because the singing strengthens the barrier between the human world and the demon world. The montage of the generations of singer hunters through the music styles, even though all of those eras look pretty American to me. Introducing our 3 leads through the excited fawning of their fans and what they love about them. Cutting to them carbo loading on a plane before the concert, only to realize their plane has failed to land because it's been hijacked by demons, reacting with an exasperated, "Oh, this again." Then proceed to take the demons out, timed to a bopping song, all while prepping their Korean variant of cup ramen, which is very important to them, and then just jumping out of the plane and landing directly on the concert venue and slicing up demons right on stage in front of everybody. But then even the post-concert almost vacation where we just about hit max cozy, I don't know what it is about this scene where they're all walking in the hallway, but I could just watch this on repeat forever. But also, if you're one of those people that mourns the delicious-looking movie food left abandoned, then this scene might be a little hard to watch. And all this before we get the official introduction of our rivals in the demon boy band dedicating to taking down the hunters. In fact, it may be a little disappointing to admit that the first act is my favorite, because it's the scene where the girls are together the most, and I really do love when those 3 are together. It is really my ideal of a comfort watch. Everything is going well, everybody's getting along, the comedy's max. This isn't to say that I don't love the rival demon boys, but when the middle of the movie becomes a series of random meetups between Rumi and the demon to work through what their deal is, I'm just not as invested in them as much as I just love seeing the girls together. interactions. I mean, admittedly, even then, their interactions are, like, appropriately dorky, even if this guy talks like the stereotype of every guy from a romance novel. However, through them, we do establish the intriguing lore about how this series handles demons, which really are metaphors for people's shame and their flaws and the parts of themselves that they want to hide, even as the movie still shows them killing most of them. I do like this angle, but they certainly could have done a lot more with it. Especially when it comes to Zoe and Mira, which they do establish have history and aspects of themselves that they struggle with, but we spend so much time with Demon Boy that we don't have quite enough time to see them explore that, and I love these girls so much that I do see that as a massive loss. Now, while the mockery almost feels redundant at this point, yes, it is incredibly funny how this movie does fairly excellently what Disney has been trying and failing to do for most of the 2020s. Encanto aside, in terms of making memorable musicals, including an exceptional villain song, adorable plushable mascots, and strong, likable POC women protagonists. Though Disney hasn't completely failed in that department, it's just that all of their best examples have been from television. But specifically, one of the aspects where Disney has been particularly weak that K-pop succeeds in, that I did mention for Moana 2 and is also a factor in Elio, is failing to create memorable side or even background characters. Like, Bobby, their manager, is so cute and likable and funny. He loves and supports his girls so much, but the most baffling thing is that he is voiced by Ken Jeong. Like, that guy is capable of being cast in a role that's not an asshole? Granted, most of the Saja boys are pretty much just designs. Oh, geez, but hell, some of the background fans are more memorable gag characters than the entire Moana crew. And given all this current positive hype, it is a shame to consider that this wasn't a theatrical release, except limited. And ultimately, this is the consequence of studios being too scared to release original animation in theaters. But might also be following the trajectory that I kind of wondered if we'd eventually get to, where all originals would be digital releases and only the sequels would be in theaters. I mean, I would definitely see a Huntrix origin story, anything to get more of a movie with just the girls. Look, I understand the struggles of the industry, and currently Elio's low numbers don't exactly give a whole lot of confidence, especially considering that an additional hurdle that K-pop has is that this is technically aimed at a more tween and teen demographic rather than the broad family that animated movies are usually aimed at, and that is part of the reason why I mourn that we didn't get this in theaters. If this had been even moderately successful, that could have shifted the needle in the industry in so many ways, while also somewhat understanding their hesitancy. But also having one of the biggest pros to its potential success, that it's a musical. And as much as Hollywood for some reason has been terrified of those, the soundtracks of musicals have repeatedly proven to be substantial benefits to advertising for their films. And as of now, it's kind of just another Netflix release that I fear will soon be buried under the avalanche of other forgettable Netflix releases. Does anyone really care about Squid Game Season 3? It's already been proven that even if they're not necessarily roariously successful, things released in theaters do tend to do better even on streaming. But we'll save it to some other time to really dig into what the advantages or disadvantages are to theaters versus streaming are. Either way, I am genuinely happy with how well it's been received so far, and I'm glad to see a big studio is still taking these kind of big swings and being decently rewarded for it. And I guess it's hard to shame people for being unaware and not supporting original animation, when in my mind the only animated films coming out for the rest of the year is Bad Guys 2 and Zootopia 2. Yes, I will still push for Elio. I did like it more than Elemental, but... So let's get a sound off on what other animated films are coming out this year. But it's still hard to eagerly push past people's lack of enthusiasm with just, it's good. And we will be getting Coyote vs. Acme. Eventually.